opportunity to once again meet. His name is Love. We are reading Baba Calling and chapter number 12. Okay, chapter number 12.
Achieve the goal of life. The easiest way to achieve the goal of life is to leave all and follow me through love. I don't mean that you should leave your house and family and come here. I mean that you be in the house with your family, but love me as I want you to love me. Love
Sorry,
me.
you are breaking up.
Not ask me this question, but somehow Baba, being Baba, he caught up with Joanna, and with very straight face, with his eyes which were shining, like sparkling eyes, looked at Joanna and said, "Will you obey me?" And Joanna, and mind you, this is 50 years after the session. Joanna was in tears, and so were many of us in the audience. And in a crying mode, she said, "Baba, Baba, I will try. I'll try." And the moment she said, "Baba, I will try," Baba's face turned very, glorious. He was beaming a very big smile. And Baba, like this finger, he says, 100%, very loud, 100%. And Joanna nodded and said, "Yes, Baba, 100%. The moment Joanna said 100%, Baba said, and this is extremely important for all of us to know, Baba said, "If you try 100%, I will help you." So here, there is a statement from Baba which says, love is a gift from God to men. Obedience is a gift from master to man. Obedience, I repeat, obedience is a gift from master to man. You cannot obey the master unless that gift is given by the master to us. And I am adding this. What is the qualification for all of us to receive that gift? And in my understanding of things, our trying 100%. If we try to obey Baba 100%, that gift of obedience will come from Baba to us, just as he promised Joanna that if you try 100%, then I will help you. So it's a very, it was a very profound experience for many of us, especially Soumya and I, when a very, very, very profound truth was brought home to us, that although obedience is a gift from master to man, we can become a partner with Baba to extract that gift from Baba to us by trying our 100% obedience. That was what I wanted to convey. So coming back to our reading, Baba says, "Obey me." That is the simplest and the simplistic. This is where Baba, try. If you try, I will help. I help you. That means that is, this sentence brought the whole story up, right? Once you have determined to obey, you are no longer your own. See, these are very, very fine-tuned, sukshma aspects of spirituality, which I think we must grab and catch hold of and internalize it and imbibe it in our psyche. I remember Adi Kaka, Adi Keirani, Baba's secretary, when he used to come to our center to give talks, beautiful talks, he would say that Baba says that it is not difficult to obey me. Baba says it is not difficult to obey me, but what is difficult is to make a decision to obey him. Once we have decided, come what may, I will obey Baba, then nothing can stop us in our way or a way forward in obeying Baba. But to determine, to decide to make that stamp that now henceforth I will obey Baba, that takes time. That is difficult to do. But once having done that, everything just falls into place. You don't have to do anything. Everything, as we call synchronicity, everything synchronizes in such a beautiful manner that we ourselves may be surprised. Oh, wow, that way. So here Baba says that if you try, I will help you. Once you have determined to obey, you are no longer your own. Your whole life you have surrendered, resigned, dedicated to Baba. And my,
Cyrus?
yes, please.
No, go ahead. Finish the sentence.
Yeah, thank you. The slightest hypocrisy spoils your determination and makes the whole thing a farce. No hypocrisy, no show business, no wearing a mask, no sort of, internally I am like this, but externally I am showing myself to be a very spiritual person, a very Baba loving person, etc., etc. No hypocrisy. There, just let me finish the last few lines, then we can open up for discussion. Do anything I tell you, Baba says, even at the cost of life itself. There are times when I remember in Bailey's diaries when Baba would go into some kind of his work, whatever the work is, and Baba would give instructions to the one of the mandlis, do not allow anybody to come up. And then he would add, even if God were to come and request you to allow him to pass and see me, do not allow God himself to come. In other words, he was emphasizing so much on obedience that Baba says that even at the cost of life itself. And if you do obey me 100% with all sincerity, at any cost, it will be greater than loving me. So Baba has emphasized a lot on obedience. There's another statement from Baba we all know: understanding has no meaning, love has meaning, obedience has more meaning, holding my Daman has the most meaning. Holding my Daman would mean that to obey him, to follow him, to leave everything to him, to depend on him, to have faith on him, totally without any doubts, without any slightest, shaking in our faith and love in Baba. Okay, Ram, go ahead, please.
Yeah. No, no, when you mentioned obedience,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to share a little story
Please do that.
that was told by Sora Birani. So apparently, Mani Auntie asked Sora, do you guys know what obedience means? So they said no. So then she said, when Baba used to, in summer times, he used to spend in Guru Prasad. So after he had his Mandali meeting, he retreated back his room, and somebody came running and said, Baba, Vishnu died. So you probably heard this story, right?
No, go ahead.
Hello. So they said, Vishnu Master, he said, Vishnu Master, he died. So Baba was with Mani Auntie, and so both of them, went back, to the Mandali room where they laid out Vishnu on the sofa. And instinctively, apparently, Mani Auntie clapped and said, Vishnu, Baba is here. And apparently he blinked. And Mani Auntie said, that is obedience.
Great. Yeah.
I
Thank
will
you.
help this.
Yeah, we heard that.
Sure.
Thank you, Ram. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
for that. All right. So here we complete one.
Trace is asking, is there any commandment for obeying Baba?
See, I would always prefer a question because I don't keep my eye. Most of the time, I keep my eyes closed when I'm talking. Okay. So, okay, fine. No, there were no commandments as such. Although there is a document called Baba's Commandments and all that, but there was no such thing like a 10 commandments. But Baba did give out what is known as my wish. And we've already done that. If you want a copy of that, you can always ask Rakesh. He will be very happy to share that with you. Baba's My Wish, we completed in 2 sessions. There were 6 points. So, and of course, there are quite a few things like how to love God, 12 ways of realizing me. But there was no such thing as you said commandment. So there's no such thing as a commandment. Okay, Tracy? Anybody else wants to ask anything on what we read just now? Achieving the goal of life. Anybody else? Oh, we have all achieved the goal of life. Okay, chalo.
Saras uncle.
Oh, you. Oh,
One,
Priya,
yes,
sorry, sorry. Okay, can Dilshad, can you wait for a moment, please? Thank you, darling. Priya,
you
go
said
ahead.
you said Baba says that you don't have to leave everything.
You don't have what?
But what you don't
Yes.
have to leave everything. But what
No.
if you want to? Can that be a choice?
What?
Or would that mean that one is disobeying Baba's wish of being rooted, and doing your worldly duties? Because I believe one of my wish is to remain rooted and to do your worldly duties. He did say that.
I'm sorry, Priya, but I couldn't get the question.
That part of it I missed out. But
Can you
Yeah,
come again,
yeah.
please?
I was saying that Baba said that you don't have to leave everything
Right,
and come follow me, or
right,
become my disciple, or etc.
right, right.
But what if you want to? What if you do want to move away from your worldly duties and your worldly
No,
relationships?
no. One thing is that Baba would never encourage people running away from worldly duties and responsibilities. But if there is a scope for that, you already finished all your duties and responsibilities, and you have an inner calling, let's put it that way, inner calling of going and being in the caves or mountains or jungles, or for that matter, even staying at Mehrabad, leaving everything and stay at Mehrabad. If it's an inner calling, after having completed your duties and responsibilities, my understanding is that it is okay. I have been asked by so many people the same thing. Oh, I want to leave everything. I'm just fed up of this. I said, no, that means you're running away from life. You can't be getting fed up. You have to join Baba's ashram, if at all you call it ashram Mehrabad or Behrazad or whatever, out of your love and spontaneity and joy, and not as a matter of running away from something and spending the rest of your life over there. That may, my understanding is that may not work out well, because your samskaras are still left in the dunyadari ka thing in the world, and so those samskaras will again pull you back over there. Something may go wrong over there. You may not get along well with some people over there, and you get fed up over there, and again you will run back to wherever your dunyadari is. Got me? I don't know whether, yeah.
Thank you.
Dilshad.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Cyrus Ji, I understand you are a very, very senior person, but I have a little disagreement on what you say, that to love God is very easy. I'll tell you why. Because God, Baba has given, ways to love, some 7 or 9 points that he has given, in which, one has to interact with human beings and interact with people and feel happy in happiness. And also Baba says the easiest way to love him is to love things and persons you don't like. I mean, if you love something that you already love, it's not that big deal. So in that sense, when we have to interface with human beings, it's very difficult to love. And second thing which I have noticed, that all through we are always talking about love Baba, but I think we need to really emphasize on what would be considered as love, and not the show of putting a har or a garland and saying Baba Baba Baba, but being not honest in our interactions. So I think the more we talk about the ways and things of what is love and how to manifest, I think we would be doing a better service to Baba. That's how I feel. I could be wrong.
Dilshad, I agree with you.
Thank you.
The message was to love those whom you cannot love is to love me as I should be loved.
The most practical way, yes.
To love
Not
those
more
whom you
practical.
cannot love is to love me as I should be loved. And then there are those methods of how to love God, and that you rightly say. One day maybe we could take up that. They are very simple to understand. Like Baba saying, to love God in the most practical way is to love our fellow beings. If we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our own near and dear ones, we are loving God. Correct? If instead of finding fault in others, we find it within ourselves, we are loving God. If instead of robbing others to help ourselves, we rob ourselves to help others, we are loving God. And there are many more like that. So, in other words, that is the way we should love God. And I agree with you, Dilshad, correctly, that just see the three, glad that you said this, the three most unimportant things in spirituality are to bow down to me, to garland me, and to sing empty praises of Aarti and everything. Just imagine Baba's words, three most unimportant things. And then Baba goes on to say the three most important things in spirituality is love, obedience, surrender. Okay, so that
Could you,
sums up what you said. Yes, go ahead, Dilsha.
could you please repeat those three things that he asked not to do? And
One is to bow down to me, to bow down
sorry.
to me, to offer garlands, fruits, flowers, and garlands, and all that, and to sing empty praises of God by way of artis or whatever it is. Baba says that these are unimportant things in spirituality. Yes, go ahead, ask.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Cyrus.
1
The
minute,
simple,
let her finish. Yes, go ahead. Her finger is still like this. Once it goes, bolo.
thank you. Cyrus ji, why I want to take this opportunity to again re-emphasize this, because all this long we've been conditioned to think love in a very different way.
Correct.
And then even within Baba lovers, I feel there is a certain amount of showmanship, if I were to put it candidly. I don't mean to be judgmental, but the point is that when we say love, it is not, as we in Parsi Gujarati, dhara para karwana.
I
કે
agree.
એમ કરીએ ને તેમ કરીએ ને બાબા એમ, but at the same time then backbite or bitch about somebody else. I'm sorry to use that word.
I agree
So
with
it is
you.
very, very important.
Dilshad, I agree with you on that point. But at the same time, my counsel to everybody, including myself, would be we are not concerned with what others are doing. We are concerned with our own growth, with our own development, with our own relationship with Baba, and we are accountable and answerable only to Baba. Most of us get waylaid into all kinds of chakkar of what others are doing. See, this fellow is doing like this, that is not correct, this is not right, this is not correct. And let them do whatever they want to do. Let us do what we feel is the right thing to do. Correct? Thank you. Ram, you come in.
Yeah.
Come in, Ram.
Yeah,
Thank
actually, I kind of disagree with what
Dilshad.
Dilshad, what Dilshad said.
Listen,
You know,
don't start a debate now.
no, I'm not saying a debate. I'm not. So remember the
Go
word
ahead.
love.
Go ahead.
Love is
Ram, go ahead.
love. Love is very easy, but love the way he ought to be loved is not easy.
Correct.
Nobody
correct.
understands what does it mean by love the way he ought to be loved. Once
Right,
somebody can explain me what it means, you have to love him the way he ought to be loved, then I will say love is easy. So love is not easy. And
Okay.
second thing, I totally disagree. When it's not a showmanship, maybe for her or maybe for some people. Whenever we say Jai Baba, it's a way of remembering him. I don't say Jai Baba to a stranger. Though Baba said, you can say, you take my name, just get them to, my name to their ear, and from ear to heart, leave it to me. So it's not a showmanship. It is, somebody may feel it, but it is their prerogative to feel the way they want it. So we cannot generalize it. So I'll leave it at that.
Correct. So, in other words, that is exactly what I said. Okay, let us not bother about what others are
Yeah.
doing. It may be a showmanship, it may not be a showmanship. We are not concerned about that. Somebody is writing the way Mera I love Baba, that is the real love, which is difficult. But if we try, we will succeed. Thank you, Farida. Yes, that is why Baba himself said that Mera loves me as I should be loved. So that is the real
Which is
love.
very difficult.
Yes. Agree. Now, how much time do we have? Let me see. Oh, we still have a lot of time. Okay, then we'll go with the next session, the next chapter.
Have no expectations of reward. Whatever suffering may befall you, you should put up with it with full faith in and love for Baba. At the most, what could happen? You might die. And it is so very obvious that you have to die one day. You have to drop this body sooner or later. Why not then think that your body is not there already and so act detached? One more thing you must remember is that is being honest. I am in everyone and in everything. And because God is in everyone and everything, He knows everything. So be resigned completely to His will. The best thing for you to do is just to love me. Love me honestly, work for me. I alone endure. All else is but a passing show. There should not be any trace of show in the work you do for me. You should have no expectations of reward for any work you do.
So here the chapter is have no expectations of reward. Adi Kaka used to say, again I'm reminded of Adi K. Irani, Baba's secretary, that on one hand, you are doing so much of Baba work, doing this, doing that, running here, running that, giving talks, giving, all kinds of things and everything. And on the other hand, you are aggrandizing your own self. I did this. Huh? When I used to give a talk, 2,000 people would come. When so and so would give, only 200 people will come. Something of that sort. The moment that self aggrandizement comes, or the moment you are seeking any reward, any appreciation of any good thing that you have done, immediately that work is undone. Adikaka would give an example. On one hand, you have jammed what is called assets. You have jammed good karmas, assets of say 100,000, and on the other side, 150,000, your liability. Because you are self-aggrandizing yourself. So anything that anybody does in Baba's field or in any other field, do not expect any reward or appreciation for that work. The moment you do that, the whole exercise is lost. Because as somebody has beautifully said, the best reward for any good work done is the opportunity to do more good work. All your job is only to do things in a selfless manner. And Baba has given a very beautiful explanation of selflessness or selfless work when he says that selfless work is that work in which the person who is serving does not even get a thought that he is serving. It should be so sahaj, it should be such spontaneous, so natural that you don't even think that you are doing some kind of selfless work or giving some kind of selfless service to somebody. So now coming to the reading. Have no expectations of reward. Whatever suffering may befall you, you should put up with it with full faith in and love for Baba. First of all, what is suffering? In my understanding, in my language, I'm trying to understand, suffering is an interpretation of what you are going through, which you detest or you do not like. Let's put it, any kind of suffering. Again, I'm saying these are not Baba's words. This is how I understand. If I say I am suffering, it means I'm going through some kind of turmoil, either it be physical, emotional, mental, which I am detesting, which I am resisting, which I do not like, and I want it to get over with. Number one. Number two, Baba says that 99% of our suffering is self-created. That means suffering is a result or an effect of the cause which we ourselves has sown sometime in the past. We have sown the seeds, and now this is the harvesting time, the harvesting period, and now when the suffering is coming, I am weeping and wailing, and I'm playing the role of a victim. I'm suffering, I'm so good, but still I'm going through all these difficulties and problems and blah blah blah. Little realizing that no suffering can touch anybody unless and until I have caused that suffering. Number two, because I always say, if I am sowing the seed of Karela is very bitter. We all know bitter gourd. Yeah, Karela we call it bitter gourd. I cannot expect to harvest hapus. Now the season is of hapus and mangoes. But just because it is in season doesn't mean that I will get hapus out of the seeds of bitter gourd which I have planted this life or last life or several life past. Very, very important for us to understand that whatever I am going through now is nothing but the result of my own doing in the past. Now that past may be one moment past or one lifetime past or several lifetime past. I do not know. Suffering is like a smoke that blinds us, that suffocates us, but the smoke signifies that there is a fire somewhere. There can be no smoke without fire. There can be no suffering without a cause. So we ourselves are the cause of our suffering. And Baba is so sweet, so magnanimous, so beautifully loving that he is saying, put it on me that Baba wants me to suffer. Why? Because most of the time when we suffer, most of the times when we suffer, we blame somebody else for that suffering. That somebody has caused me this suffering. And thereby we do a adan pradan of samskara, a give and take of samskara. So Baba says that it is happening according to the divine will. And what is divine will? What is God's will? We have done it over and over and over again that God's will is nothing but the law of karma. Clear. So that only from this one sentence we are going so deep into that study. Whatever suffering may befall you, you should put up with it. Why you should put up with it? Because it is your own doing. You can't blame anything. You have to face it. Of course, you must try to come out of it, overcome it. But don't blame and don't weep and don't wail and don't cry foul that somebody is doing something and therefore you are suffering. You must put up with it with full faith in and love for Baba. When we do that with full faith in and love for Baba, that automatically we are not blaming somebody. So we are now cutting through the rigmarole or the the vicious circle of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Why? Because we have brought Baba in the picture. We are cutting that vicious circle of cause and effect. At the most, what could happen? You might die. And it is so very obvious that you have to die one day. I think one day I will take up a chapter only on dying. I think about 2 years back in our Meher Baba's birthday celebration, I gave a talk on the art of dying. So maybe one fine day I'll talk about that again because it's a very beautiful concept. Dying is real dying, I'm talking. Baba says, no one dies. No one knows to die. The real hero who dies is never born again. These are not exact words, mind you. In other words, real death is the death of falsity, the death of separateness, the death of finiteness, the death of desire, the death of illusion, the death of ignorance, the death of mind. When that dies, one should be very happy that we have merged with the truth, with the reality. But nobody dies that way. Everybody is dying in a very superfluous way, which is just the death of the physical body. The subtle and the mental bodies continue their journey onwards and then again come back again and again and again. But here Baba talks about the superfluous death, the bodily death, the physical death. At the most, what will happen, Baba says, you might die. And isn't it so obvious that you have to die one day? You have to drop this body sooner or later. Why not that then think that your body is not there already and so act detached? So Baba says the real dying is dying to the false self while in the physical body. That means we have to be so utterly detached to the body that everything that is false, everything that is separate, everything that is finite, everything that is other than the truth, you just do not get attached to that, basically. One more thing you must remember, that is be honest. Baba has emphasized time and again on honesty. Basically, my take or my understanding of honesty is that as within, so without. No hypocrisy, no show business, no wearing a mask and presenting yourself as somebody other than what you inherently are. That is the meaning of honesty in my understanding. So Baba says, that is be honest. I am in everyone and in everything. And because God is in everyone and everything, He knows everything. So be resigned completely to His will. Again and again, what is God's will? The law of karma. When you say you resign to His will, means we accept what we are going through. In the process of accepting, the process of accepting is so fulfilling that we do not, there's a nice sentence which says, imagine the insanity of not accepting what is, because what is just is. Whether you accept it or not, the what is not going to change. So instead of wasting your energy in what is, you should invest your energy in what now. अभी क्या करना है? ये जो है वो तो है. Accept what is, and the moment you accept what is in any situation, you will feel so content, so happy, so settled in your emotional self, that you can think straight as to now how do I come out of it. Otherwise, the major chunk of your energy goes into the problem rather than going into the solution, and you get a lot of, you get enmeshed. It should not have happened to this. Why did it happen? Had I done this, it would not have happened. Had somebody not done this, or all kinds of nonsensical thoughts and emotions will rush into ourself, into our being, and we will not be able to take a very, let me say, spiritually matured position in life or decision in life, so that we move on from what is to what we should be. Coming, there's a question here. Okay, what is it? What is the question? Please ask.
Cyrus Uncle, Jai Baba, Anaita here.
Jai Baba.
Cyrus Uncle, just wanted to ask you, when you said that sometimes don't be a hypocrite, don't wear any kind of a mask, but I mean, can you correct me if I'm wrong? Sometimes at workplace or in life generally, you want to be frank about so many things, but being frank won't help at that time. So sometimes you do have to kind of wear a mask or tactfully put your point across. And sometimes it also means that you're not putting it across 100% or it's not being conveyed 100%. So does it amount to hypocrisy?
According
Because
to me,
many
no, you are role playing. That role requires you to shout, or that role requires you to correct somebody, or that role requires you to just, something is wrong, but you just turn a blind eye to it. because your role requires that if you start being yourself, your end result,
Exactly.
your end result will not come. So I don't think that is hypocrisy. That's a role play, and everybody does that in order to get to your goal, which is a better, it's on a higher level than. uh, Sorry, she's talking about team playing. Yes. So I don't think, yeah, at workplace or even at home,
Correct.
sometimes you cannot be openly blunt or frank, but you just wriggle your way out because you know that that is the best thing to do for all of us in that particular situation. According to my understanding, that is not
Not
hypocrisy.
hypocrisy.
That's not.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Can I add to that, Cyrus Uncle
Why
Mansi here?
not? Please add, Mansi.
I would call that being tactful without
Yes,
with having the intention of having
yes,
everything right. You're not your
yes,
intention is
absolutely.
not to hurt or cause harm.
Absolutely, absolutely. I remember in one of the messages when Baba has said that you can be truthful, but at the same time, you cannot be so harsh and very bluntly truthful that it hurts the feelings of the other person. So you need money. Mansi, you said the right word. You should be tactful. You should be diplomatic. You should be, playing a role in a particular a part. That's perfectly okay. That's not being hypocrite. Yes.
Cyrus,
Yeah, but
I
One
wanted to
minute.
remind
Dilshad did this first. Okay.
I wanted to remind you of your words when you had said in the same question somebody had asked that truth has to uplift. And
Yes. Uphold and
that is
uplift.
what your the words I
Yes,
remember.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, yeah. Baba's word.
My
Truth,
question,
truth is that which upholds others. It has to uphold. And I am reminded of a story. I'll tell you that later on after I finish this. Yes, Ram has to come in.
oh, my
When,
question is
when
that
Dilshad
yeah, yeah.
comes in, Ram has to come in.
no,
Okay,
my question is still there. This
okay,
was
go
just
ahead.
an input.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thursday, when we're talking about the people not doing things for appreciation, not doing things to get any reward, but at the same time, it is common that somebody feels better when you say something just to be able to soothe that person. You also talk about Baba's philosophy, and they tend to say thank you or appreciate.
Yes, yes.
At that time, what is the best way to
Pass,
accept?
pass it on to Baba. If somebody gives you an appreciation, just pass it on to Baba. Thank you, Baba, in your heart of hearts. If you can openly say, fine. Otherwise, just in your heart of hearts, Baba, thank you. It's because of you that I'm getting this applause or whatever it is. Don't keep it to yourself. Just pass it on to Baba. That's what I
Yes,
do.
I do that. I do that.
I'm not saying this is the right thing or wrong thing. This is what I am doing. I'm giving a practical. I am doing that way. I tend not to keep anything to myself, including the so-called brickbats, including the so-called brickbat, because not that you'll always get the praise. You might get some lathi also. So Baba, take it. It's yours.
That becomes more difficult to offer.
Pass it on. No, Baba. No, Baba says, offer everything to me. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything. So do that. No. When Baba is saying and Baba is wanting that, just give it to him.
Thank you so much. I do that.
Yeah, okay, dear. Nori had something to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, to Anita's, the truth should be told, but it all depends how you say it.
Yes, agreed.
Even if someone has done something wrong, don't say you've done wrong. You did it the wrong way.
Yeah,
We were trained to say, have we explored the alternative ways of doing it? It's a nice way of telling the truth. Right?
yeah.
So,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, so we go
Okay.
ahead with this. The best thing for you to do is just to love me honestly, work for me. I alone endure. Once we have enthroned Baba in our being, and once we, like Baba says, like how when you get up in the morning, you just take a bath and wear the clothes, and then you forget about what clothes you are wearing and all that, what color, you might forget. In the same way, wear me. So that every little thing that we do, automatically, Baba is involved in it. So here Baba says, I alone endure your association with anybody, even your fights with anybody, even your good feelings and good vibes with anybody. Just think that it is only Baba and Baba and Baba. All else is but a passing show, is transient, temporary, impermanent. There should not be any trace of show in the work you do for me. This is extremely important. The moment we show off that I can do this better than you in any way, either you are speaking, either you are singing, either you are acting, either you are drawing, either you are dancing, anything, the moment that ego comes in, it's all gone. And that is why in one of the Baba's messages, which was given out in the East-West gathering in the November of 1962, first, second, third, fourth, I think this was given on the third, when Baba says, my dear workers, and there are a lot of things, a very powerful message where Baba, one of the sentences runs like this, that if you allow yourself to come between you and the work means Baba's work, and between you allow yourself would mean your ego. If you allow yourself to come between you and the work, then you allow yourself to, you allow that work to take you away from me. In other words, my simple understanding is that we may be working for Baba, we may be dancing for Baba, we may be talking for Baba, we may be acting for Baba, we may be doing anything for Baba. But if that ego crops in, then that very work that you are doing will take you away from me. I am under the impression that I am coming closer and closer to Baba by doing whatever I am doing. But actually, if that ego comes in, that very thing which I am doing takes me away from Baba. It's a very, very important sentence, a very powerful sentence, which we must all remember. And it came from this particular sentence. There should not be any trace of show in the work you do for me. You should have no expectations of reward for any work that you do for me. You do. Then there should be no expectation. The work in itself is a reward. When we do work for Baba and try not to miss out on any opportunity that you may get in a very natural, spontaneous way to do any work for Baba. When I say any work for Baba, does not necessarily mean that you come to the Meher Baba Center or go to Pune Center or Dubai or whatever. And no, work for Baba would mean you can work from home. Just helping somebody is a work for Baba. Any good work done out of spontaneity, out of love, out of selflessness is Baba's work. So take it that way. It does not necessarily mean that you work at a center in order to say that, oh, this is Baba's work. So here we end this chapter also. Have no expectations of reward. Anybody else? Yes, Richard.
You were to tell one story. No?
Saris,
Who said this?
Meher Kripa.
Oh, Meher Kripa, you're very smart. You're very smart. Great. Okay. Bolo. Yes, Dilshad.
Cyrus, what you said about wear me, that sounds very, very profound and precious. Could you please tell me which particular chapter number and page number, please?
About this one? No, there is nothing wearing me in this book. This I said it from somewhere else. But what we are reading is Meher Baba calling, and
Yeah,
this
that I know.
chapter number 13. But if you want to know where, see, in one of the regular messages that I have sent, I will have to search it out. I hope every one of you are receiving the Meher Baba Bombay Center's daily messages. If you are not, then you can either contact Rakesh or me how to go about it. Is the most simplest thing to do. That is one.
That is the email you're talking, right?
Email. Every
So
day
this
email.
this word of wear me is there by Baba somewhere?
Yes, it is one of them. Yeah.
Is it there somewhere?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Meher Kripa, thank you
Very
for reminding
profound.
me.
Thank you so very much.
I wanted to just talk about one episode, and Meher Kripa reminded me In fact, Soumya reminded me. I said, "You shut up. Let these people, let them remind me so that I know that they are attentive and not
Thank you,
sleeping."
Baba. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you very much. See, once it so happened that one gentleman uh, who was a who knew Sanskrit, he in the Bhar Darbar of Meher Baba, he said that Baba, I have made one rachana, means I have composed something in Sanskrit which I wish to present it to you, and speak it out. And Baba, as usual, said, "Very good, go ahead." And he, with a lot of gusto, he kept on saying whatever he was saying, the Sanskrit verses. And Baba, as usual, would be nodding like this, and once in a way doing like this. That was Baba's practice. It went on. And then Baba turned to K.K. Ramakrishnan, who was a Malayali. I find very few Malayalis in Baba's circle. One of them is my own wife. So, yeah. And Krishnan was, and then there was one Krishna Nair, and there may be some more, but these are the only few whom I know. So K.K. Ramakrishnan was also good in Sanskrit. So Baba asked him, "How did you find this? I mean, how was this Rachana? How did you find it?" And he, being bluntly honest, said, "Baba, this is not his composition. It is made by Shankaracharya. It is already published and printed, and it is Shankaracharya." And Baba's face was not very happy. And then Baba just nodded and again, showed appreciation, and he went away. Then after the whole program was over, Baba called K.K. Ramakrishnan and asked him, "What was my question to you?" My question to you was, how is this Rachana? Well, how did you like it? How did you find it? If you did not like it, you could have said, "No, Baba, I did not." If you liked it, you would have said, "It was nice." Do you mean to say I am a fool? I am God. I know what Rachana it is and who has made it. Do you think I don't know? But my question to you was, how did you like it? How do you find it? Why do you overstep on that and took one more step and said, "Baba, this is not his composition, it is Shankaracharya's." Now that poor fellow, he felt so sad. He was so unhappy about the whole episode. And that is when Baba also said, "Truth," but Ramakrishna said, "But Baba, that is the truth. I am telling you the truth." But Baba then said, in many instances, but this is one, truth is that which upholds the other. So this is not upholding. You have, poor fellow, you have slashed him left and right. And in our language, we say, "Look face, don't laugh." Something like that. So it's like that you did. So coming back to what you said, Dilshad reminded, truth is that which upholds, that way. So I think we call it a day, unless anybody has a question.
You didn't see my finger?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I am focusing on Dilshad.
You only see Dilshad's finger. No, actually, I have a comment, about K.K. Ramakrishnan asking Baba to cut his life short and change the destiny. And what I'm going to say is totally my opinion. I'm just going to follow it by a short
Yes.
story. You know, changing the course of destiny could have a disastrous effect, and we should not change it. The Lord has a destiny and something. Unless He wants to change it at His own will, then it's a different thing. And the story I'm going to say is, there is this Baba person. This was when Baba was in his physical form. She had few daughters and she wanted to have a boy, and she had a boy. And the boy was 2 years old. He was very sick. And she used to live in a village very close to Mehrazad. So what she did was, the Hindus, they stand up, then they follow the role for a little bit, they stand up. And she did that from her home all the way to Mehrazad, to see Baba. So when she went there, Edith said, Baba is not seeing anybody, he's in seclusion. And she insisted she has to see. And obviously, it went on back and forth. So Baba finally, asked Erish, what does she want? So Erish goes and says, and she tells Eruj, my son is very sick and I want Baba, to save him. So Eruj says, and Baba conveys a message, your son will be with me, he's going to be with me. Don't worry, go away. And she said, no, I want you to guarantee that he's going to live. She insisted. So this went back and forth few times, and then eventually she goes to Baba. Baba says, I will grant you, go. And after that, few years pass by, Baba dropped his body, and the boy grows up. All his sisters became very successful. The boy went to engineering, he became very successful. And one fine day, this was in early 80s, I mean, I know when it happened, but he was rejected admission in universities in United States. So he tells his mother, now you stay at Samadhi. And as the train was coming, he just goes and commits suicide. So the mother at that point realized, now I'm too old, my husband is gone, I don't have sons, my son is gone. Had I listened to Baba when he said, maybe I could still at that point could have conceived.
True.
So it's a sad story, but a true story.
No,
So I think, a lot of times when we ask even in Baba in our heart, right, we keep on asking till we get a answer in our heart, which is to our liking. Just
correct.
ask him once and just leave it. That's it.
The
All
lesson,
right, Jai Baba, I'm done.
the lesson that we have learned, as I think it was Kabira who said, that if it is given unasked for, if the master gives you something unasked for, it's like nectar. If you ask and if you get, it's like water. If you ask and do not get, and yet you keep on asking and then you get, it's like blood. It's like poison. So yeah, so
How true. Yeah.
Also, the lesson that we have to learn from this is that we should never ever insist on our own desires to be fulfilled through Baba. Yes, you may make a request and then leave it to Baba to give it or not to give. He knows what
Right.
is best for each one
Yeah.
of us. So with that note, we end our session.
All
Avatar,
right. Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Cyrus uncle, Cyrus uncle,
What happened? Yes, dear.
Anaita here. Sorry, just a humble request. Whenever you get a chance or get the time, can you just take up one topic? Modesty, the difference between modesty and humility.
Yeah, yeah,
Please, please.
yeah.
Is Dilshad Khajotia listening to you? Is Dilshad there? No, because she has been asking me for this topic. And by the way, she is my nephew's wife. उनको बोलते हैं अरे हम तो घर के हैं यार हमारा कुछ सुनो let's see. Okay, I'll take it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't tell this to Dilshad.
Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Thank
Jai
you.
Meher Baba. Jai Meher Baba.
Cyrus,
Baba,
good to see my
Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, everyone.
Jamshed, do you recollect this?
Jai Baba.
Cyrus, my finger.
Yeah, who's this?
Ram, my
Yeah,
finger.
good. What
I asked you one time if you know anything about Homi Vajevkar.
No, I've heard the name. I've heard the name. I have heard some references of how helpful he was with helping Baba to sell the Sakorina Sadguru, but nothing much, no in-depth knowledge about it. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yes.
Yes,
Now
you
the
said something
time
after
for this
Anaita
was-
asked. So,
Sorry.
huh?
Sorry.
You said you were asking about something when Anaita asked about modesty and humility.
Okay. My nephew's wife is also Dilshad, and she had asked me to speak on difference between modesty and humility.
Okay, not this.
And I refused her, and she said, "Arey, hum to ghar ke aadmi hai, you must do." I said, "I don't listen to. It will come in the natural course." But now that Anaita has said, I don't know whether I'll have to take it up. Yeah.
Cyrus ji, I had also asked you about
No
the
finger
ways.
down now. No finger up.
I had also asked you about the ways of God realization. If you can take a chapter session on that.
12 ways of realizing me.
Yeah. I had asked last time.
Okay, Baba.
Whenever you-
Cyrus uncle, તમે ફસી ગયા.
I know,
We
yeah.
will not leave you now.
I should have just said Avatar Mero Baba.
Sorry.
Jamshed. Thank you, Jamshed.
Jamshed.
Jai
Chalo,
Baba.
ekdam
Sorry,
fine
sorry.
lage. Okay, chalo. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
See you on Monday. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, see you.
Thank you.
See you all
Soumya,
tomorrow.
Jai Baba.
Yeah.
No, tomorrow
Yes,
is meditation. That's not for me.
Okay, Jai Baba.
Jai
I
Baba.
told to everybody, not only you. Chalo, Jai Baba.